Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Hoop Hogs video mailbag. I'm Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas and the Pod at the Palace, coming to you for our daily Razorback basketball Q&A. And today, per request, we're continuing our player preview profile series, right? Had a question about just kind of going through all 9 guys who are in the anticipated rotation, what the expectations are, what we need to know about them, strengths, weaknesses, film clips if we can find them. And so we're going to do that. We did John L. Davis yesterday, and today we're moving on to freshman guard Boogie Fland, and this is one that I'm excited to do. Let's start here. We haven't been able to get into practices yet, but I've talked to several who have been, whether it's coaches who've been invited in, former players who've come in and practiced or worked out with the guys, or folks who work at the school. Every single one of them has told me that Boogie is the real deal, and he looks like he's going to be a key contributor for Arkansas this season. It's a consensus across the board. You love to hear it. We just did a mailbag episode about what he can learn from Tyler Eulis. I'd suggest checking that out because I think it's going to help him kind of get past or get over that freshman learning curve a little bit quicker. It's going to streamline things, in my opinion. Where do we really want to start with him, though? Let's start with the intangibles, maybe, for Boogie. He is supremely confident. Okay. He's charismatic. He plays with swagger. Like the lights are not going to be too bright for him as a freshman in the SEC. He's fearless. He's tough. He's got that New York swagger about him. It's part of the reason why I projected him to be one of Arkansas's fan favorites this year, because just the way he carries himself, there's something about him. He's got that flair, the aura, if you will, that I think people are really going to appreciate. And that's a good thing to have when you're kind of thrown into the wolves as an underclassman at the highest level of college basketball, and on some of the biggest of stages, which is we're going to see him at right out of the gates. If you ask Boogie Fland what position he plays, he's going to tell you point guard, and he's going to tell you that emphatically. And now it's interesting because he played off ball mostly until his senior year. And I think a lot of that was honestly because of his ability to shoot the ball. He can really, really shoot it, but he can do both. And he's going to be super important, I think, for Arkansas as both a playmaker and a shot maker for this team. Decorated player coming in out of high school, right? I mean, a McDonald's All-American. I really loved how efficient he was as a senior in high school. Shot 46% from the field, 37% from the three, 83% from the free throw line. That's really good, highly efficient. And he did that averaging 20 points. He also got 6.5 boards, 3.5 assists, 2.5 steals per game. So some really, really high level production, and a guy who's, thrived on the EYBL. He's got a gold medal with USA basketball, McDonald's All-American. He's done a lot, right? So a little bit young actually for his class. And he kind of has a naturally smaller frame. I don't want to call it smaller frame, but just slight or more narrowly built, but he is deceptively long, and he's very, very fast, and he's twitchy, super quick, right? I think right now, offensively, Boogie, I would call him maybe like a 2.5 level scorer because he can shoot the crap out of it from 3. He's got a really nasty stop and pop mid-range game, and he's crafty around the bucket. He's got a floater game, but physicality, I think, does impact him at this stage in his development around the rim, in the paint. Okay. Strengths and weaknesses for Boogie. Let's start with strengths. I mean, shooting, right? Shot making. That's got to be where it starts for him, which is huge because Arkansas, they've got, aside from John L. Davis, you got some guys who can shoot it. Like, Trevor Brazile can shoot it. Big Z can knock down some threes. DJ and Thiero, guys who they might need more efficiency from or more volume from. But there's not a ton of proven three-point shooting. And Boogie's not proven, but he's a pretty safe bet to be a big-time three-point shooter for Arkansas based on what we've seen throughout his entire development. There are a couple clips here that I want to show you guys from practices this summer. One where he just steps right into a transition 3. You can see how smooth and how fluid it is. And another where he identifies a matchup with a big, gets him kind of on skates off the dribble, and then pulls up from 3 and takes advantage of it. Let's take a look at these. Woo, buddy. Got Trevor Brazile on his back foot, and it was all cake from there, man. I absolutely love that. And I love that Arkansas, just the thought of him and Nelly Davis in the backcourt and what that provides for you in terms of 3-point shooting, something that we really haven't seen too much of as in terms of a dynamic duo with Arkansas the last few years. But as you can tell, the dude can shoot it, right? That's a repeatable stroke and something that I think we can look forward to. I think the biggest thing that I'm waiting to see offensively with Boogie is maybe how quickly Tyler Ulis can kind of make that impact on him as a passer and a table setter. The playmaking instincts are there. The feel for the game are there. I think there's a good play here, a clip that we'll show that illustrates that, where Boogie, man, he just shows he can kind of keep that ball on a string. He splits a pair of defenders and he threads the needle right to a Duth the Arrow for a dunk. Just a nice little split and dish there. It's good stuff. Man, I love that. We're going to watch that one more time. That's really high level stuff. You don't see a lot of freshmen who are able to do that. It's almost like a synchronous move there where he's crossing it over, splitting both guys and threading that needle right at the same time. No wasted dribbles, no wasted effort, right on the mark. It's beautiful. Oh, sign me up for more of that. It doesn't get you fired up, man. I don't know what does. It's really good. I think that we're going to see some highlights, a lot of oohs and ahs coming from Boogie Fland from the crowd. I think that's what you can look forward to, because there's a certain amount of electric feel to the game when he's got the ball in his hands. Weaknesses, concerns, of course, there's going to be some for any true freshman that come in. With Boogie, I think it's all about strength and physicality, right? As a true freshman, a first-year player, Boogie can really guard. He can. He will pick you up the full length of the floor. He's got super quick hands. He's got, I think, very strong defensive instincts for a young player. He's probably going to be a guy who piles up some steals. The question is, can he limit getting bullied by older guards? And the case in point is this clip that I want to show you here, where he's in one of his many heated battles with DJ Wagner. And from the sounds of it, those two go at it. And I mean, it gets feisty in there on a daily basis. But we got a clip here of a little bit of back and forth between Boogie and DJ, where a Boogie is using that, has the ball on a string, creating space, knocking down a jumper. But then you see on the other end, he kind of gets bully balled down around the rim, gives up some ground to the stronger guard, and gives up a bucket. Let's take a look here.
He's going to play like that. When you're competitive with him, when you're doing what you're doing to him, you got to figure out, I can't just give up baskets. You're going to make him better.
There you go. And there's that stop and pop from the mid-range that I was talking about. If you give him any breathing room at all, he's getting that thing off and he's knocking it down. But as you could see on the other end, he's keeping his man in front. He's in front of DJ the entire time, but just giving up a little bit of bump, a little bit of ground when a bigger, more physical guard, an upperclassman guard, if you think about some of those guys in the SEC, getting into his chest and creating a little bit of space for an easy bucket there, that's what he's going to have to work on. And quick hands can counter that. Being willing to sacrifice your body and take a charge can counter that. And he's just going to get physically stronger as the year goes along. There's no doubt about it. And honestly, since he's arrived on campus, he has put on some weight and put on some strength. It's just a natural progression for freshmen there, but it's something to keep an eye on in terms of how he holds up defensively once Arkansas gets into league play. Torvik, taking a look at their projections, they put out just kind of their preseason individual stat projections for the top 10 and everybody's rotation. And for Boogie, they've got him to average 8.2 points, 3.0 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game. That, I might go a little bit higher on points. I think I could see Boogie getting to double digits in points this year. And Arkansas's got some guys who are going to score it. Nelly Davis, DJ Wagner. That Jonas Adu around the rim is going to give you buckets. Trevin can score. Carter Knox can score. Big Z. You could go on and on down the list. So I think this might be an Arkansas team that doesn't necessarily have a guy who's averaging 20 points per game, but they might have several dudes who are in that 8 to 12 or 13 points per game range. So that might be about right. I personally will probably have Boogie projected to be a little bit higher, maybe in double digit scoring. But in terms of the boards, the assists, I think that feels fair to me, I guess we should say. But I'm really, really excited to see it. How well Boogie holds up defensively, and how much that 3-point jumper translates, and I think it will, is going to determine what Arkansas can do in terms of their lineup flexibility. Is this going to be a situation where you could see a 3-guard backcourt with DJ Wagner, Boogie Fland, and Nelly Davis? I think the more of that you can see, the better, because it adds some length into your lineup. I don't mean length like arms, because those are your 3 guards, but I mean length in terms of the versatility you can play with. It lets you get creative with Carter Knox and Billy Richmond and Adut Thiero. Maybe you can play him more as that jumbo 4-man. So how versatile Boogie Fland can be in terms of playing on and off the ball, I think will have an impact there, but I think he's due for a really nice freshman season. And appreciate the question as always. We're going to continue tomorrow with the next man up in this little player preview series in the Hoop Hogs video mailbag. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you get subscribed to our YouTube channel at Inside Arkansas. Follow along with our written content, InsideArkansas.com. And I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you guys. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with the Pod at the Palace. Everybody have a good one. We'll see you in the morning.